Hello friends, our today's lecture is income which do not form part of the total income. There are only 11 sections to go. This chapter is very easy. In this, a particular income is that and that income is exempt. So there are 11 incomes out of which such income will be exempted under the sections given below. Please don't write now. I'll give you time. When I'll say pause, that time will pause the video and please write. Please take the notes. The very first section is section 10 subsection 1. Agriculture income is exempt from taxation. It's very simple. Just keep in mind any agriculture income earned by an SSC will be exempted. If the question says such questions will be coming for 1 or 2 marks in the miscellaneous section under question number 7. The question might be asked like give true or false. Agriculture income is exempt under the hands of SSC. The statement will be true and give the section. If they ask the reason, write the reason. Under section 10 subsection 1, agriculture income is exempt from the taxation. The second section is section 10 subsection 2. HUF is taxed in respect of its income. The share income is exempt from tax in the hands of the members under section 10 subsection. What this section mean is the income earned by the HUF, that is Hindu undivided family, will be taxable to Hindu undivided family, but the share income, just like the partnership firm, the income is divided among the partners. The income of the HUF is divided among its members, and such income earned by the member will be exempt under section 10 subsection 2. How to remember this? How to remember the first section? Section 10 subsection 1. 1 stands for the very first letter of our alphabet, that is A. A stands for agriculture. As simple as that. 10 subsection 1. 1 means A. A stands is equal to agriculture. So under section 10 subsection 1, agriculture income is exempt from taxation. Under section 10 subsection 2, HUF is taxed in respect of its income. The share income is exempt from tax in the hands of the members under section 10 subsection 2. I hope you all understand. But if such questions come in the exam as an adjustment, you have to write the income in the inner column and after that less given under section 10 and exemption, and write the amount minus it and outer column nil, and make a bracket, write note, and you have to write this entire section. So you have to note it down. I'll give you time. Just don't write section 10 subsection 2. If you want to get above 60, that is exemption, then you have to be precise about all this. You have to write the notes. Third section, section 10 subsection 2a. In this, the partner's share in the total income of the firm or limited liability partnership is exempt from tax. Just as I told you about, it is similar to HUF. A partnership is formed. The partnership will be taxed, but the income earned by the partners, that is the share income from the partnership firm, will be exempt in the hands of the partner, whether the partnership is a normal partnership firm or it is a limited liability partnership firm. The income earned by the partner will be exempt. It is given under section 10 subsection 2. This section is very important. This section is a little manipulative section. Listen. I'll give you a small hint what the manipulation can be done. In this section, now these days there is a trend of forming company. Companies just form to take money from the general public in the form of shares or in the form of debentures. But if we take money from them, the company will be charged tax at the rate of 30%, and after that the shareholders will get their money. As shareholders or debenture holders, they'll get as and so their interest or dividend, whatever it is called, but the members will be not taxed. There is also a section that will come in other chapter, income from other sources. I'll teach over there. But now in the partnership firm, instead of making a company, form a partnership firm. The firm will be charged to tax, but the income earned by the partners will be exempt in their hands. They don't need to pay tax under income tax. This is the manipulation over here. Not manipulation, it is tax planning. Section 10 subsection 10 BC. compensation received by an individual or the legal hires on account of any disaster is exempt if the same has been granted by the central government, state government, or local authority. The logic behind this section is, if an individual who has suffered in a disaster and the government is giving him exemption of say rupees 1 lakh to per individual who have suffered, and after that government is asking all that individual, you have to pay tax. So what is the use of giving the compensation? If compensation, the word compensation brings that compensation is given to someone who is needed, who needs help. You can't ask tax for that. If the compensation is received by an individual who has suffered in the disaster and such a compensation is granted by central government, state government, or local authority, then such income will not form part of our total income, it will be exempt. Please pause the video and write all three sections. Note down the last section, pause it. Here we are over with all the four sections. Very simple section. Such exemptions are given under section 10. So if you don't remember the first section, that is section subsection 1, section subsection 2, section subsection 2a, section 10 subsection bc, then you can gamble like this. You remember exemptions are given under section 10, whether it is income from other sources, whether it is from income from salary, or income which do not form part of the total income. Just remember exemptions are under section 10. You can write, just quote it under section 10 and continue if you don't remember. But I personally advise you all to remember all the sections, because there are hardly 11 sections of exemption and you all can easily remember it. It's not a huge thing. Section 10, 10D. Section 10, subsection 10D. This section deals with the lump sum amount that will be received by an SSC at the maturity of the LIC. LIC is taken like many years ago. Like an SSC takes an LIC years ago, and he gets income. He gets the maturity amount. After getting the maturity amount, if the government will ask, give me tax on it, then there is no use. Then it won't be tax savior. People invest in LIC. They put the premium each month in LIC to get. LIC lump sum received is exempt only if the LIC an SSC pays LIC premium for more than 5 years or 10 years. Many people do it for 20 years, and after paying LIC amount, and it is said that LIC, if we pay premium for LIC each month, we get tax benefit. After getting the tax benefit, when the LIC gets mature and when the amount comes to the SSC, and if government will ask for tax, the SSC will be like, it was a fool. He just become a fool after paying premium and getting deduction under ATC, and now after getting maturity of LIC, the government is asking for tax at a higher rate. There is a loss. So this section has came into existence. Section 10, subsection 10D. In this, if the policy is taken before 31/3/2012 and the LIC premium paid does not exist 20% of the sum assured. Sum assured means if the LIC is taken for 10 lakhs, if 10 lakhs on 10 lakhs 20% will be 2 lakhs. If the premium paid each month is not more than 2 lakhs, then the lump sum amount received will not be taxable. Policy taken before 1/4/12 policy not before sorry that's my mistake. Policy taken before 1/4/12 to 31/3/13. Between this date, that is between this 1 year, the premium paid should not exceed 10% of the sum assured. And if the policy is taken after 1/4/2013 and the premium paid is not more than 15% of the sum assured, then only the LIC lump sum received is exempt. Otherwise it is not exempt. If say 30% premium is paid by the SSC, then he will not fall under all this category. The lump sum received by him will be taxable. Are you all getting me? Section 10 subsection 11, statutory provident fund received is exempt from tax. And a salary person in the corporates, usually the corporate people take some amount from the income as a statutory provident fund, and they invest in this provident fund, and after the maturity or when the SSC leaves the job, he'll get a lump sum amount. The statutory provident fund, statutory, this word is important, statutory provident fund received by the SSC is exempt under section 10 subsection 11. Similarly, section 10 subsection 12 stands for recognized provident fund received is exempt from tax. Statutory and recognized provident fund have two sections, but remember like this: statutory as well as recognized provident fund are exempt from tax. The SSC who is receiving such income will not be taxable. They will get exemption. This too comes under income from salary head. Write the income, put the income in the inner column, less, write this section, exemption, bracket, note, in the notes write this. In the inner column, write the same amount. Say if it is 10,000, sorry, not 10,000, 2 lakhs, 2 lakhs, then write less 2 lakhs, outer column nil. That's it. It goes like this. Section 10, subsection 11A. Any payment received from Sukanya Samruddhi account is exempt from tax. This also comes in section in 80C that I'll teach you when I'll be teaching you all deductions. The premium, sorry, I can't say the premium, the payment made to this account is exemption. That amount given to this account is given as a deduction, not exemption, deduction. That deduction, before getting that deduction, after getting that deduction, when the SSC has paid in this account, after some time he'll get the payment from, he'll receive his money back from this Sukanya Samruddhi account. The amount received by him will be exempt from tax. Please pause the video and note this much. I hope you have copy. Please pause the video.